One of the most anticipated NBL Championship Series tips off on Saturday night. Sydney Kings at home to the Adelaide 36ers in Game 1 of a best-of-5 series. Matt Logue here from CODE Sports, and I'm joined by my colleague from south of the border, Michael Randall. Mick, set up this grand final, mate. Everyone's excited. Why do these two clubs have such a bitter history?
Well, it's not a traditional bit of history, right? Like, they've never played each other in a playoff series, let alone a final. So it's kind of a first, but the rivalry is kind of unfolding in real time. Like, the last sort of couple of years, there's been all these little bonfires and spot fires between the two clubs, and it's all about to explode on Saturday night.
Obviously, Mick, the big one is Kendrick Davis, Bryce Cotton, this initial bromance that ended in a rivalry and then a close MVP loss for Kendrick Davis, and now it's game on, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's sort of Kendrick and Bryce, but it's kind of Kendrick versus the world, right? And I think that he wouldn't have it any other way. It's kind of what he thrives on. But yeah, it's been an interesting kind of 2 years for Kendrick Davis in the NBL. I mean, you know, he arrives in Adelaide highly touted. There were some questions about, you know, how he'd fit in with teams beforehand, and he came in and was a scoring machine, but the stuff on the court was kind of overshadowed by the stuff off the court, and it kind of ended in tears at the end where the club and player broke up, and he's landed in Sydney, and you know, he was firing jibes at the Sixers all off season, and then he's a fellow alpha dog, I guess, in Adelaide last season. Montrezl Harrell ended up firing back at him, and it just from there it's kind of just snowballed, and this rivalry, is particularly with Bryce landing in Adelaide, has just gone to the next level.
There's so many layers to this rivalry with Sydney and Adelaide. As you say, it's all in recent history, but one that stands out for me, having been in Sydney for a bit now, is Dejan Vasiljevic up against the Sydney Kings. Obviously well documented that DJ left the Kings to go to the NBA. He had a clause in his contract that he would, you know, the rights were owned by the Kings. He decided to sign with Adelaide, stirred up Bogut and other people within the Kings. Now they're in a grand final or championship series. Like, watch that one too. I think that one explodes. Mick, obviously we look at, you know, you mentioned earlier, and it's really the cornerstone of this series is Davis and Cotton. Mate, the MVP drama that we've seen, obviously Cotton got it by 2 points, but we've got a grand championship series MVP coming up. Is this the decider?
Well, I don't know that it's the decider, because Bryce is the MVP, right? So, you know, it can't change. That doesn't change, but the grand final MVP is up for grabs, right? So I think that's the thing that Kendrick Davis will be wanting to get, so that he can go, well, yeah, I didn't get the MVP, but I can say that I was the grand final MVP. I mean, it's funny, in the lead up to the MVP night, you know, Kendrick was like, I don't care about, you know, the MVP trophy, and I wasn't out to win it. And then pretty much as soon as Bryce's name got announced, it was on for young and old for him. He was like, you know, after it sort of the ceremony finished, he was out the back of the Palladium at Crown, pretty much telling anyone that had listened that he was robbed, and, you know, he wasn't happy with the voting system and wanted things changed. And yeah, and, you know, hit the Instagram live, and you know, I know that Bryce wasn't overly happy with how, I guess, Kendrick carried himself that night, and you know, I guess the spotlight that he would have grabbed as well because of that. And you know, we've established that I think part of his upset, apart from the fact that, you know, he wants to put MVP on his resume, is that there was a fairly healthy bonus in his contract to say that, you know, if you win the MVP, you're gonna get extra cash. So I think there's a lot at play for how he felt about the MVP, and I think he will be out to win that grand final MVP to say that, well, I've got this one up on you, Bryce.
Every player will tell you, Mick, that you take the MVP trophy, or you take a championship and the championship series MVP, and I think you'd take the latter every day of the week. And I think Cotton will be up for this game, but I think Kendrick's got a little bit of extra chip on his shoulder, and I think if he can get that championship, then I think he'll take that as a moral victory, mate. Who wins and why? It's the ultimate question.
Who wins and why? Well, I think I'll probably be the only one that says I think Adelaide can and will win this series. I was thinking about it and looking back on some statistics and how they played each other this year, and went back and had a look when Bull Quoll did the job on Bryce in that first game when they met. It was off one day break. They played Tassie in a pretty tough game and sort of just didn't have the tickets right. And that's one thing that's been a problem for Adelaide is not necessarily depth of role players and things like that, but genuine depth of stars. Like they have that great starting five, but outside of that, there's not a lot of bench scoring. I mean, unless DJ's coming off the bench, which he's now starting. So, and then there was another game, obviously, that Sydney beat them, I think, by 5 points. It was pretty close, but again, that was they'd played Perth a couple of nights before, and I think it was 24-hour break as well. So there's asterisks next to those two games for me, and so I think that even though Sydney are 3-1 up on the season, I think it's a lot closer than any of us might think, right, the rivalry, or not just the rivalry, the two teams and the way that they play each other. Sydney have got to make shots, right? Like, they're going to get a lot of looks. Like, South East Melbourne got a lot of looks in Game 3. They couldn't make them, and then Adelaide made them pay. I think that the bigs, Rakocevic, Cheatham, and Humphreys are a massive key. The way that they played against South East Melbourne in that third game is the game plan for how they must play against Sydney, right? They've got to crash the glass, win the rebounding count, like do those things, get offensive rebounds, get second chance points. Like, that's going to be massive. They played a lot out of Humphreys and Cheatham as initiators and had Bryce play off the ball. And I think the two of them had 10 assists between them at half time, which is something that you don't see. So Mike Wells has copped a lot, and he's got his rivalry with Kendrick as well, right? But, credit to him for changing the way that they played against South East Melbourne, motivating them to play in that fashion of matching and beating South East Melbourne at their own game, and starting DJ and getting him going. I mean, he plays his best game of the season, and I'm sure he'll have a very big point to prove against Sydney. So, there's Saturday night, long break, then they play Friday and Sunday. So I think regardless of game one, Sydney probably wins, but as long as they win game 2, it gives them a chance. Okay, so if they can't get 1 and 2, it's going to be all over. It'll be all over on Sunday week.
It will be extremely close. I think you're right. I think game 1 is pivotal. The Kings have to get that one. If Adelaide gets some momentum and then go back home, could be 2-0 quickly. But my confidence in the Kings is defensively. I think they're the superior team, and I think that the key for the Kings, I think, is Torrey Craig. I just think I think he could be the difference between the two teams. I think he plays at both ends of the floor, and if he plays the way he has been playing so far in the postseason, particularly the series against Perth, then I don't see Adelaide matching that. And then my other question would be, who stops Kendrick? They're not going to stop him. They'll make life difficult for him, but I don't think they can fully stop him. And then combine that with the Kings' defence and the Torrey Craig factor, Sydney should win. But I think this goes deep, Mick. I think we could be potentially here talking on Easter Sunday about a Game 5. But look, it's what the NBL want. It's what we want. It's what everyone wants. Two best teams all year. And I think it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. It's going to be a great series and one we'll look back on fondly.
Bring it on, Matty.